Hey everyone, and welcome back for more Appalachian music history in Johnson City, Tennessee. In our last video, we left off with the Johnson City recording sessions of 1928 and 1929, and we're going to pick up from there. So, in the mid and late 1940s into the early 1950s, just after World War II, downtown Johnson City was home to a record store and record label known as Richertone Records. The business was owned by Johnson City native James Hobart Stanton, and was the first record label dedicated to recording old-time and early bluegrass music. During the day, James Hobart Stanton, who went by Jim or Hobe, would sell records in his storefront, and of the evening he would record local acts for a fee. Sometimes he would record music at his record store in Johnson City, and sometimes he would go to the artist to record them using his portable studio. He would then travel far and wide selling these recordings of Appalachian musicians out of his 1939 Oldsmobile, according to Ralph Stanley in his autobiography Man of Constant Sorrow. Oftentimes, Hobe Stanton would sell these Richertone records to jukebox companies, as he worked for a jukebox company himself in his early 20s. As a young man, he was inspired to start his own record label by Sid Nathan of King Records in Cincinnati, Ohio. Hobe Stanton operated Richertone Records on West Main Street in Johnson City for 6 years, from 1946 to 1952, and over the years he recorded many musicians from the area, including Wilma Lee and Stoney Cooper, the Stanley Brothers, the Sauceman Brothers, the Church Brothers, and Jim Eanes. Although Richertone is considered the first bluegrass label, it wasn't exclusively bluegrass. Hobe Stanton also recorded musicians from genres such as folk, honky-tonk country, gospel music both black and white, blues piano songs, and even some fun novelty tunes. Hobe later started another record label called Folkstar Records, and then another called Champ, a record label that specialized in black gospel music and which he took with him to Nashville when he moved there years later in the 1950s. Although Richertone wasn't the biggest record label of its day, it was the first label to make a conscious effort at recording bluegrass music, and did so with the help of musicians across the Appalachian region. Information about James Hobart Stanton comes to us from Ted Olson, professor of Appalachian Studies at East Tennessee State University, and the Richertone Records Archival Project on YouTube. Johnson City is also home to a hidden treasure known as the Down Home, also located on West Main Street, just outside downtown. The Down Home is a music venue dedicated to Americana and roots-oriented music, and has been a staple in the Johnson City music scene since its inception in 1976. Today, the Down Home is ran by co-founder Ed Snodderly. Snodderly was inspired to open the Down Home by various venues he performed in across the South in the 1970s. Snodderly has made a conscious and successful effort over the years to keep the interior of the Down Home looking the same as it did in 1976, which further adds to the Down Home appeal of the Down Home. Throughout the decades, the cozy stage inside the Down Home has hosted many renowned and beloved musicians, including Doc Watson, Guy Clark, Billy Joe Shaver, Willie Dixon, John Lee Hooker, Newgrass Revival, Allison Krauss and Union Station, Billy Strings, and Old Crow Medicine Show, to name drop a few. The late country music legend Townes Van Zandt even recorded a live album at the Down Home in 1985, which was also broadcast live on the radio in April of that year. The recording of this broadcast can now be found in a double album called Down Home and Abroad, released by Floating World Records. This information about the Down Home comes to us from John Jinko, reporter for WJHL, and Phil Walton of Louder Hell magazine. Moving along in our journey through Johnson City's music history, we come to Mildred Catherine Ellis, a pianist, educator, composer, and musicologist from Johnson City, Tennessee. Mildred was born in Johnson City on September 6, 1906, and lived on East Myrtle Avenue throughout her childhood and adolescence. Growing up, she learned piano in school and played piano in church at Bethesda Presbyterian Church, which is now the Watauga Avenue Presbyterian Church. Mildred graduated in 1924 from Langston High School, Johnson City's first African-American public high school. After graduating, Mildred moved to Nashville to study music and French at Fisk University, a historically black university in Nashville. She graduated magna cum laude in 1929. After graduating from Fisk, Mildred became somewhat of a traveler, moving from state to state teaching French and music at various high schools and colleges throughout the nation, while also performing her own piano recitals in various theaters and music halls. During this time, she also earned a master's degree in music from the University of Michigan in 1937 and pursued graduate studies at Harvard University in 1941, eventually earning her Ph.D. in music from Indiana University in 1969. Throughout her travels over the years, Mildred made a point to come back to Johnson City to visit her family and friends in her hometown, as well as to teach music at her former high school. In 1947, Mildred Ellis made her mark on Johnson City by organizing the first festival in Johnson City, called the Negro Music Festival. The Negro Music Festival was a big deal at the time, as it was the first time Johnson City held a major music festival, and it was a racially integrated one at that. The Negro Music Festival was a one-day festival that was hosted on the campus of East Tennessee State College, as the university was known then, and was dedicated to celebrating black composers and performers. Over 200 performers from across 7 states were involved in the festival. Looking at the program notes for the festival, it's clear that this was a vast undertaking for Mildred, and she made it a point to involve groups and residents from the Tri-Cities to perform in the festival, including choral groups from Bristol, Kingsport, Johnson City, and other surrounding towns. During the festival, Mildred included a composition of her own, titled Keep Working and Singing. Although Mildred Ellis took a big risk of alienating a large portion of her potential audience by including solely African American performers, as well as including pieces and performances that were overtly political in theme, the Negro Music Festival was well received by the Johnson City public in 1947. After the festival, Mildred Ellis continued her career of education across the United States and abroad for several decades, visiting her hometown often. She passed away in 2004 at the age of 97. This information about Mildred Catherine Ellis comes to us from Jeremy Smith, Director of the Archives of Appalachia at East Tennessee State University.
All right, Jimmy, let's have a little of that Johnson City rag.
Mildred Ellis organized and executed the first festival in Johnson City, but it certainly wouldn't be the last. Multiple festivals occur each year in Johnson City that celebrate the city's deep musical heritage and culture, including the annual Blue Plum Festival and the Umoja Festival. Johnson City's musical roots are also kept alive by East Tennessee State University's Bluegrass, Old Time, and Roots Music Studies program, which began in 1982 as the nation's first college-level bluegrass program. ETSU's Bluegrass, Old Time, and Roots Music Studies program offers many areas of study including bluegrass profession, old-time music studies, Scottish and Irish traditional music studies, and audio production. Many musicians have came through ETSU's Bluegrass, Old Time, and Roots Music Studies program that you may have heard of and are actively keeping alive the musical heritage of Johnson City, including Amethyst Kia, a folk singer and songwriter from Johnson City who was nominated for a Grammy in 2020 for Best American Roots Song for her song Black Myself. Another artist with roots in Johnson City is bluegrass picker Trey Hensley, who was raised just outside Johnson City in Washington County, Tennessee, and received a Grammy in 2025 for Best Traditional Blues Album for his work on Swingin' Live at the Church in Tulsa with the Taj Mahal Sextet. Trey Hensley is currently an adjunct professor at ETSU's Bluegrass, Old Time, and Roots Music Studies program. Well, folks, thank you for going on this journey with me.
Johnson City, Tennessee.
Stay tuned because there's another music history video coming your way about Kingsport, Tennessee. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.